With myself, Daniel Skoltz, and Stevie P. We are covering the world of sport, the highs, the lows, all the stories that you need to hear the last week. Stevie P, how are you doing, kind sir?
Yeah, it's a tough time out here, Dan. It's public holiday tomorrow. I've got a 7:45 tee off. So it's a little bit of a midweek. Yeah, bit of a midweek break. So it's. I think today, I think it almost hit the record high for the hottest 30th of April we've ever had in the country. So it's a tough life we're living down here in SA, but we're grinding through.
To be fair, today has probably been the hottest day of the year in the UK, and it hit a soaring 18 degrees. So we're both winning, It's some on different scales than others, but I'd say we're both winning. And unfortunately, I'm not winning in the golf department because I'm absolutely not playing golf tomorrow morning and not having public holiday. I'll be joining.
And our teams aren't exactly doing very well at the moment. Well, my teams, actually, both of our teams are not doing very well. So we're not winning. Off the pitch there. Or on the pitch with regards to professional sports, and so our individual sport careers will have to carry us through.
Yeah, it's been a tough month from the perspective of us as supporters. Actually running my first ever marathon this weekend, so hopefully the athlete in me, I don't know, somewhere dark and deep down, might present itself this weekend. And
so do we dare ask for, are there goals, or is it just finishing now?
Start to finish, brother. Start to finish.
Start to finish sub 3, try and look for that.
No, we're hiking Everest this weekend. But
is it a trail or is it a road?
Yeah, it's a trail up the Welsh mountains.
A trail 42.
Gonna go find some dragons up there at the altitude. But Stevie, that's not what people want to hear about. They want to hear about how the predictions were last week. And the big story was that last week I managed to turn it around finally. I believe the score is 8-3 now, having just kind of got the tide to turn. And there are 3 different fixtures that we bet on every single week, and we see who is more correct. Stevie is giving me the thumping of my life, but I've just recently won. So let's get through what we bet on last week. First match, Lions versus Munster. Oof. Tough one to watch as a Lions fan. Stevie, your prediction was was Lions by 5. Mine was Munster by 3. Results 33-13 to the men. Yeah, sure.
For about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So a resounding win for Munster. Massively successful tour for them in South Africa.
Can I just say, I think that these last 2 games for me surely have to put them as, I wouldn't say favourites whilst you got a Leinster, but I tell you what, they're looking hard to beat.
The only thing that's not putting them in favourite is their actual league position, because they may not have a home city and final. So, but 100% form, they've struck form at the perfect time. The second match, Stevie. And I don't think I've ever got a Stormers prediction correct, but Stormers versus Leinster, as predicted, Leinster was a bit of a weakened squad, and I didn't think Stormers would bounce back as they did. Stormers winning that game 42 points to 12, resounding 30-point win. And my prediction was Stormers only by 7. Yours was Stormers by 12. Again, not very close, but Stevie, you took that one home and drawing it up at 1-1. And our final match of the weekend, Spurs versus Arsenal North London derby. A lot to play for, Premier League, top 4, both teams wanting to kind of derail the other one. That game ended 3-2 with to Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal going 3-0 ahead, Spurs almost clawing it back.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was getting a bit dicey at the stage for Arsenal.
Very dicey. I think no one was more happy than David Raya to make sure that game got wrapped up, because he was the reason that they even let Spurs back into that game. But Stevie, your prediction was 2-1 Spurs and mine was 2-2. So closer than yourself. So I'm back. It's 8-4. I've halved the deficit.
Half the deficit in like 2 rounds yet.
You're talking momentum. Tomorrow is May, and I'll be taking that momentum into May.
So the question is, Dan, what's the real marathon? What you running on Sunday, or this comeback in the prediction game, dude?
I mean, this one feels longer. I might have different opinions.
This one feels more unassailable. Bring on the mountain.
Yeah, this is a bigger mountain to climb. but Stevie, you mentioned Munster and the talk of URC. Let's get into last week's results because, geez, I mean, you feel like you have a grasp of which way this top 8 is going to go, and then week on week it just turns itself on its head. And
I think if you were to look at my thumbnails for my weekly URC review, you'd think I didn't know what was plotting. Because every week it's like Lions up for the top 8, then it's like have Lions bottle top 8, like Bulls back. Then it's like, Bulls going downhill. I think like, the Stormers on the downward trajectory, putting 40 points against Leicester. So it's the most ridiculous URC season.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Ospreys having gone and beaten Stormers last week, everyone kind of, bigging them up in the conversation, and now all of a sudden dropped down to 10th after taking a big L to the Bulls. But let's quickly cover some of those fixtures. A massive, massive win for Ulster, 38 points to 34 versus Benetton. Again, both teams in that top 4 race. Ulster having a horror season off the pitch, managing to kind of keep it going on the pitch, to be fair. And you got to give the players a lot of credit for that, trying just to kind of put that behind them.
Just really trying to drag themselves through it, aren't they? I mean, if they can get that top 8, then talk about salvaging a disaster season.
Yeah, no, it'll be massive for them. I mean, anything in the top 8, I think, is honestly impressive, especially just with how spread out and how big the competition has been. Big win for Sharks, who played mostly a first team against the Scarlet.
And left. We're never really in the driving seat. It was a bit of a weird game. Had to keep sort of coming into it, keep trying to sort of see them off. I was impressed by Scarlets.
I thought, to be fair, I thought the Sharks let them in at the end there. They should never, Charlotte scoring like 2 minutes from time and almost having a crack at the final whistle for the line, but not to be. Our boy Sia Masuku putting strings, 3 MOMs in a row, Werner Koch hat-trick. He's been playing some really good rugby, to be fair, recently. Speaking of Ulster, he'll be there next season.
I'd say part of the rebuild.
Glasgow Warriors now lead at top of the table with their 40 points.
With space,
With a bit of space. I mean, yes, they're paying for not sending any teams. I mean, I don't think they'll be worried too much. They'll probably end on top in any case.
Because Glasgow Warriors have come down to Ellis Park, so they're definitely losing at least one game in the last 3.
But it's nice to see, to be fair, Scottish side that's not just mid-table. I mean, Edinburgh, I think they're quite hot and cold. But I think it's nice to have at least a team from each country representing. We've seen Benetton represent, obviously Italy. We haven't quite found our Welsh representation or spearhead yet, but the other fixtures were obviously, as we mentioned, Munster 33 points to 13, Connacht 34 points to 27 versus the Drags, who almost pulled a bit of
that could have been a massive result for me as a Lions fan. I was monitoring that because when I thought that there could actually be a chance for Dragons to pull up a bit of a result there, it could have been big.
Yeah, and then Edinburgh 24 points to 7, Stormers 42 points to 12. Stevie, walk us through this top 8 battle. What are you seeing here?
Well, there's a bit more space now. If you go back at one stage, it was like 5th through to 11th, was separated by like 2-3 points. There's a bit more space now when you think the Lions are now 4 points behind, 5 points behind 8th. So there is a bit of space. But because a lot of these teams are playing against each other, there's maybe not as much space as you think, because the Lions are playing against a Cardiff and the Glasgow Warriors. So they're not playing against anybody sort of in and amongst their that fight, but a lot of them are. So, and Edinburgh goes and beats an Ulster, for example, or vice versa. And all of a sudden, there's lots of these teams will be dropping points in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So, I think, as a Lions fan, for example, down, not out there. I think, 2-3 more wins, I think does get them top 8. I do see a couple of these teams dropping points, but it's one of those things now where bonus points are going to come into it. Lions were paying the price for not getting enough wins because, for example, they don't go to points difference, they go to number of wins. So Lions have been 11th, despite being level on points for the 2 to 3 teams the last couple of weeks, purely on number of wins. So it's interesting how that could actually play a bit of a role. Bulls, however, they've kind of managed to get themselves back into that purely top 4 race, putting 6 points between them and the Stormers.
And I don't think the top 4 I don't think anyone will move in and out of that top 4. I think it still might shuffle around. Maybe Leinster Munster could even flip around. Glasgow might not finish top. I feel like Bulls will probably stick around there, but it's really that 5 to 8. That's the big one. I have faith now in the Stormers. I think sitting on 45 points. To be fair, 8 is only on 44. As you said, there are those head-to-head battles that's really going to tie it up. I mean, you kind of need to be drawing for a couple draws almost in the upcoming weeks. If you look at like a game, even like what's called Edinburgh versus Zebre, Lions Cardiff, that's going to be massive for you. I'm actually looking. There aren't that next week, at least. There aren't that many that's in that top 8 battle next week.
The last 2 weeks are very.
Yeah,
but the thing is, but if you look, for example, if you look at the top 8, some of the guys who are in the top 8 have some big clashes. So for example, Bulls versus Glasgow, for example, it's not a massive game, but Edinburgh. No, I'm looking at Sharks Benetton, for example. In theory, you look at the opposition and think it's a pretty straightforward game. If the Sharks are out of the Challenge Cup, for example, then they could play a first team there. It's tough for the Benetton to come down and get a result there. Munster looking for top spot. They've got Connacht. And then Leinster Ospreys, so a lot of, for example, you could be seeing Benetton, Connacht, Ospreys all dropping points there. And Lions beating Cardiff suddenly puts them back in amongst the Pigeons. Yeah.
Big one, also final weekend is going to be Benetton, Edinburgh. Almost certainly going to be kind of a winner-takes-all type of endeavour. And not to mention kind of the Munster-Ulster one, which will be Munster looking to get kind of probably a home semi versus Ulster looking to qualify. So we love a bit of jeopardy here on the show, Stevie. We do love a bit of jeopardy. And this is...
I think that's going to be what's so exciting is that these last 3 weeks mean a lot to all 8 teams.
Yeah.
The top 4 is not done. First is not done. 7 to 8. There are 11 teams out of 16 who are fighting tooth and nail for every last point.
Yeah.
Previously, I think the top 8's been relatively sorted, maybe 8 or 9. And then we're kind of just seeing what's going on between the sort of the top 2.
Agreed. And to be fair to like the Scarlets and Dragons, they're still putting up fights. It's not like they've just packed the season.
They're not walkovers, yeah.
Sharks still need to stay on top. They want to obviously win the Challenge Cup, knowing that qualification for the UFC is out of the picture. But, to keep that winning momentum is crucial for them. So that's, I think, a good segue, to be fair, to what is happening this weekend. The Stoop is becoming the Stoop in London, as Sharks are technically hosting Clermont in the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup, as Gloucester host Benetton. Gloucester not having the best year in the Premiership, so they've done well really to get to this stage. How are you seeing these games going, Stevie?
Well, I think it's a lot of teams who, as you mentioned, there's not a lot for them league-wise. So it's such a big opportunity for them to get something out of the season. This is their last, Sharks. They can win all 3 games in a row with bonus points when it comes to the URC, and they still will not touch 8th. They'll still be 4 points behind. So there's nothing for them left in the URC. Yeah. But there's a Champions Cup spot at the end of that Challenge Cup. You look at Benetton, for example, they're fighting and this potentially could not make the top 8. They might be outside the Champions Cup next season, but there's a Challenge Cup in 2 victories' time. So for me, that I think is what's so exciting about the Challenge Cup games is that there's so much to play for. I mean, obviously your Champions Cup, all these teams, Toulouse, Leinster, Northampton, all looking to try and win their local leagues. Yeah. But this the Champions Cup as the coveted cup. The Challenge Cup, some people might not rate, but for all the teams currently in it, it's such a big deal for them.
Absolutely. I mean, the highest position is Benetton out of those 4 left, and they're in 8th. Sharks in the 13th, obviously out of kind of 16. And then Gloucester 9th out of 10, and Clermont are 10th in the top 14. So kind of this is for a lot of them. Other than Benetton, the rest of them don't have actually that much to play for. This is it. So it'll be interesting to see how Benetton manage that. They do have a decent squad, at least, but I'm really excited for the Sharks. I think, I don't know, do you agree that most South African fans are supporting the Sharks? Should we? I'm so conflicted. I've never.
Yeah, I know.
Because I've never.
My problem is
Bulls to win Super Rugby. But
Yeah, I
now
also
I
didn't.
feel some sort of affinity. I don't know. I think
See,
this is
I think if it was any other South African side, no, my biggest problem is that the Sharks team does not deserve the Challenge Cup if they do it. And I think that's going to really piss me off. If I'm a Lions fan and you look at the season we have, and for example, we finished 9th in the URC, or flipping God forbid, we finish 8th, they win the Challenge Cup, which means they take the 8th position of the URC, for example. So then the Lions wouldn't make the Champions Cup, and they sit there going, "Oh, well, we're in the Champions Cup and we got a trophy." And I'm like, "But you were so poor the entire season. Now you're going to walk away with silverware. Like, how dare you?" It's a bit like if United burgle an FA Cup, It's just like, it's like, no, you can't just do that.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, if they do win it, I think we can call Masuku straight up to the Springbok camp and secure his spot in the number 10 jersey for the 2027.
Look, you can basically retire Andre Pollard because Mr. Clutch has already stepped in, and you can just tell Pollard to enjoy his retirement, go sip some cocktails. You've given us everything you needed to give us. Yeah. We're sorted.
That redemption arc has been insane, and we've been waiting for it. We've been calling for it, and I mean, to be fair, Sharks are showing signs of what they could be, and next season there could be trouble.
I think the emergence of Vincent Koch is going a little bit under the radar in terms of similar time to Masuku. All of a sudden, the scrum sorted itself out with Bongi, Ox, Vincent Koch, and then you've got an attacking fly off playing behind a working set piece.
Yeah,
and a dominant scrum. So the stars have aligned for the Sharks.
Well, for now.
I think to be fair, I think also the big reason at the moment that we feel South African teams we want them to win is because at the moment we're dealing with so much criticism about being involved in Europe. There was never anybody, at least during Super Rugby, where there was, the Kiwis weren't sitting there saying, "Well, actually, it would be quite cool if you guys weren't here." It was only in that last sort of COVID times where all of a sudden they were like, "We actually don't need you," and then we're like, "Okay, cheers," and they're like, "Oh shit, we actually need you." Whereas I think at the moment there is a lot of animosity from mainly the English fans. To be honest, the Irish fans love us. That's something I've picked up quite a lot.
And they tour incredibly well. You have to take a hat off to the Leinster and Munster fans. They come
the Munster fans. They're proper. I think you'd see more from Leinster if they send a better team. But that Munster travel support, there's a good support at Bulls, good support at Ellis Park. And I was reading a really nice comment on the channel, and it says, as a Munster fan, I'm loving the contact. How much we're enjoying having the South African teams in the URC. They said it's a cool types of teams to play. They said they've enjoyed traveling down here.
It's a challenge for them, to be fair.
Yeah, and to be fair, and they said and their fans are really like diehard. Yes, they're biased, but diehard love the rugby. And I think that's a big thing. And look, we are. And I must admit, I mean, I fight with South African rugby fans, so I can only imagine how like some overseas people do. But you won't find a more passionate fan base than us.
Absolutely, we're highly irritable and highly biased, but I think that's just sports fans. I don't even think you can categorize that to South Africa. Talking of competitions that South Africans aren't in, so we don't even need to have this conversation, is the Champions Cup this weekend, Stevie.
In which case, we're all in behind Toulouse, eh?
I actually don't want. I would love to.
Probably Harlequins, to be fair. I want to see Tyler Green in the match performance.
I kind of want the English teams to do well, as weird as that sounds. I think they are both underdog-ish teams who haven't had a lot of success in this competition, versus the typical Leinster Toulouse. To be honest, the Champions Cup, currently, I feel like the Champions Cup, it's really fought between 3 or 4 teams. It's like these two, and then you can add La Rochelle and maybe another.
But I like how I mean, you add La Rochelle. Not like anybody rated them any of the seasons where they won it. It was always like so the Champions Cup. I mean, the Champions Cup at one stage was basically the competition between Leinster and Toulouse, and then La Rochelle just dipped in the end and said, "Actually, it's us." By the way.
Yeah, just because they decided to be a bit thuggish, but it's actually, I think this makes it more exciting. Like, I want Northampton and I want Harlequins to win this weekend. Do I think they will? No, because I do want a cross league final. I think that is kind of like the whole thing when it comes to like a Champions Cup. It's like a Champions League final. As cool as a Liverpool United Champions League final would be, there's something about the cross league part of it that just makes it that different sort of element. But I think if you hope for 2 English wins, you might get 1. Or,
Yes, this is true. The nice thing about, for example, is one thing a Harlequins wins is there's plenty of Saffers in there. I mean, they're captained by Saffers, so cool to see the the representation there. Plus, Tyron Green's the next block fullback alongside Kieran Horn, so it'll be cool to see him grafting in the final there.
Anyone who's worn a Lions jersey, anyone who's worn a Lions jersey.
Well, man of the match in the quarterfinals. You know, it's just we just produced talent.
I do love a bit of Tyron Green. But I'm really excited. I think Leinster. I mean, Leinster have literally kept a squad at home. They've just gone through a 2-week training camp. Essentially,
they even sent Jacques back early.
Back Jacques. they hired Jacques to be fair to win this bloody competition. So
to the point where they sent him back and said, "Listen, we'll stay. You go and just sort out the Champions Cup buggers."
Yeah, if I had seen that before I made my last prediction, I probably would have got a little bit closer to it. Alas, so the Leinster.
Can we talk about how elite that is from a club setup point of view? That you can keep your head coach in South Africa with the youngsters and send over the World Cup winning coach to manage the rest. I mean, that is laughable. For all the people might complain about the resources, the this, the that. I mean, that is the definition of a high performance elite environment of how things should be and could be run. I mean, that's just mental.
Yeah, and as much as they got blown out of the water a little bit, Leinster isn't a bad team. Their second team rather is not like.
Well, you guys almost had their third team. I mean, they made how many changes between the Lions team and then you guys. I mean, it's ridiculous how many changes they made.
I mean, they're going to be bullying just their first team's a joke. It's just the Irish team, and now you're looking at adding Geordie Barrett and Alfie Snam on their next season. So I feel like if there's a time, it's now, as if they are at all week. But then you just go to kind of Toulouse, who are just Champagne, Rugby, DuPont pulling strings, and Tomac coming back. It's
Ramos,
just
all the buggers.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, Harlequins, the best thing, I think both Harlequins and Northampton, the best thing that they have going for them is that they've both kind of been written off by a lot of people.
So I think that's a big...
They're their best rugby.
Yeah, so look, I think the big thing with Harlequins is that they're so unpredictable, and they've been kind of unpredictable the entire tournament, where they've kind of been sort of written off slightly, almost every single game, and they're always sort of seeming to pull out the miracle victories. And I think because they've got so many Mavericks in their team, they can't be underestimated. So who knows what Harlequin side is going to rock up on the day.
It does feel like that might be the most broken up rugby game we will ever watch, though, between Toulouse and Harlequin. Both just love chaos. It's going to be a fun watch. Whereas you feel like the Northampton Leinster is going to be a lot of brute force, like really just big, kind of two massive teams flexing their muscles at one another. But very, very exciting. Crunch end of the season. All to play for. Obviously, no URC this weekend. We get a bit of a breather from that point of view, but four really big European. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Between Two Fans with myself, Daniel Skoltz, and Stevie P. We are covering the world of sport, the highs, the lows, all the stories that you need to hear the last week. Stevie P, how are you doing, kind sir?
Yeah, it's a tough time out here, Dan. It's public holiday tomorrow. I've got a 7:45 tee off. So it's a little bit of a midweek. Yeah, bit of a midweek break. So I think today, it almost hit the record high for the hottest 30th of April we've ever had in the country. So it's a tough life we're living down here in SA, but we're grinding through.
To be fair, today has probably been the hottest day of the year in the UK, and it hit a soaring 18 degrees. So we're both winning, It's some on different scales than others, but I'd say we're both winning. And unfortunately, I'm not winning in the golf department because I'm absolutely not playing golf tomorrow morning and not having public holiday. I'll be joining.
And our teams aren't exactly doing very well at the moment. Well, my teams, actually, both of our teams are not doing very well. So we're not winning, off the pitch there, or on the pitch with regards to professional sports. And so our individual sport careers will have to carry us through.
Yeah, it's been a tough month from the perspective of us as supporters. Actually running my first ever marathon this weekend, so hopefully the athlete in me, I don't know, somewhere dark and deep down, might present itself this weekend. And
so do we dare? Right, hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, and it is playoff time. It is the EPCR Challenge Cup semi-finals, and the Sharks hosting inverted commas Clermont over in London. Unfortunately, with the result of the South Africans not being full members yet of the EPCR competitions, they do not have the rights here to host games down in South Africa at the semi-final stage. But it is technically a home game for the Sharks, who I do expect actually to have a lot of genuine home support, because I think it's obviously a massive South African community over in London, and I'm sure a lot of them will have come out, and I reckon it should be a pretty good crowd in over there in the UK. The referee today is Luke Pearce, getting ready to get things underway. We'll go through the lines in just a minute, and we'll get things going. But I want to know how you guys are doing. How is your Saturday treating you? Where are you watching from? Who are you supporting, for example? Let me know down in the comments below, and let's get ready for what should be a pretty cool match. I expect to see. It'll be very good. It's my same expect to see the Sharks go through, and with the team they've got, very much expect them to be pretty competitive. Masuku with ball in hand, by the way. Sharks are playing left to right and have got the kickoff, so Clermont will receive kickoff, and they'll be playing right to left. 4, 3, 2, 1 says the clock, and we are underway. Masuku going down the left-hand side, lifted high in the air, and it's a strong chase coming from Makazuma Pimpi with James Fenter looking to add his weight. Captain for Clermont today, Fritz Lee, underneath the kickoff. So we are underway. Right, how are you guys feeling? What do we think? What are your score predictions? Let me know down in the comments below. Let me know who you're supporting, where you're watching from. As I think I was Evan Esmith looking to put a bit of pressure on Fly Half earlier on in the game. The only South African team in action this weekend. No South African side still left in either this or the Champions Cup, and so this is the only game that the South African team will be playing in this weekend, apart from the SA Cup, the SA21 stuff like that. But from a franchise senior level, we look at big four teams. The only side, Evan Smith goes up and takes it well from the line, and Sharks, as Masuku lifts it high in the air with their first opportunity with ball in hand. It will be a competitive kick, and it's very, very well won in the end. Back from Clermont. Now with this first carry, quite a few familiar faces if you are a South African family and one watch a lot of Spark Rugby, because there's quite a few Argentinian faces in the Clermont lineup today. Bernard Cock, it's a massive hit on him, but he does very, very well to take that. And back first carry of the day coming there for Emil van Heerden. Expect to see him doing a lot of carrying today, actually, the young lock. Very talented player. Now the high kickers actually went back from the Sharks. Very, very good work there by Mapimpi. Quick ball here for Grant Williams. Not the best pass to Masuku. He flings it out to the Kanya. Looking to run the hands. James Fenter decides to straighten. Oh, he sits him opposite number down. Good work that from James Fenter. And then a penalty, I believe, or could be a knock on. We'll have to go back and check. Massive hit there on Werner Koch. Does very, very well to keep ball. On the back of a hat-trick last weekend, so he'll be feeling a lot of confidence, will Werner Koch. Sharks playing in black, Clermont playing in yellow. So not too many changes there. There's an early penalty, and Masuku will have his first kick of the day on the back of a man of the match performance. He's been absolutely tearing it up of late, has Masuku. Been very, very impressed with his work at the Sharks. And for me, I just don't understand why it took them so long to get him playing regularly. So very, very strange decision that from the Sharks management. But I suppose it is what it is. They've took a while to get there, but they have got there in the end. And that's a solid kick from him as well. Flags are raised. And what it looks like a pretty good Sharks or contingent of people in on their feet and applaud. It looks like a nice crowd actually building up. I think the far side is a bit empty, but I'm sure that'll build up as the day goes on. But early points here for the Sharks. And an early substitution as well. So Emil van Heerden's gone off the park. Brant Krobler's come on. I'm not sure if that's an HIA or whether we'll see him a bit later. But not the start they would have really liked. And they've targeted up Lefassi. We've got a penalty being taken out in the air. So done well there, did the number 15 to get up and bravely take that. I think he's a bit sore after that, but looks like he's all right to continue. And CM Masuku now have an opportunity to just kick themselves downfield and find a bit of territory and get things going once again for the Sharks. Early points were very important for the Sharks, I think, to be able to get that early lead and they're not finding touch there from Masuku. That's a bit of a mistake. Missed a tackle there from Ibrahimovic, but his new lock partner, Clermont Challenge does complete it. So Clermont now with ball in hand on the halfway line. Now goes back to the pockets. So they decide to shoot down the left-hand side. Seeing a bit of space down there. And right through the middle. This is an impressive run here. And it finds its way. Oh, I tell you what, he's gone over. That's terrible attacking. Joris Jorant has gone over for Clermont. That's a disaster for the Sharks. Must have slipped at least 3 or 4 tackles. Really, really poor defense, that. And after the perfect start for the Sharks, well, that's not the perfect response, is it? It is for the Clermont fans. But really poor defense that from the Sharks. And they find themselves behind Durant now with this 4th try in the Challenge Cup. Right on the left wing over there. Yeah, torrid defense, must be said. You can just see the space there. Good, well sort of read out there. And it's the initial break. That comes from, I think that's Yato who actually made the break there. Look at the pace there. Bang, gets away from Oxen Chair. Then everybody's now reeling. Pass out wide. Renner-Cock can't get there. CM Masuku comes across. That's a really, really poor attempt from him. Must, unfortunately, going to be very honest, had to make the tackle there to CM Masuku. Yeah, Oxy gets the bit of Ox, and that's a bit of a mismatch, but CM Masuku gets across, has opportunity, and kind of goes in behind him and just, yeah, it's his t-shirt grabbing. Applying sunscreen, as we used to say. So a kick to come, but Clermont in the lead. And he's managed to slot that kick there as well. It's a very good kick. And Clermont now lead 7 points to 3. Not the ideal start here for the Sharks. And it's another restart. Mapimpi's up there to chase, but has done pretty well as the Bautista Del guy. The Argentinian wing. Just trying to find out what the story is with Emil van Heerden, whether it was a HIA or whether he is done for the day. Currie taken, and Masuku goes to the boot once again. It looks like that's going to be quite a common tactic for the Sharks over the game, and there's a knock on here. I think it's actually been awarded as a penalty there from Pierce. I think it's the high tackle here. Yeah, so he's been taken out there. So that was the penalties for, and the penalty is where the ball lands. I think that's Etzebeth who got there ahead and said, no, listen, that needs to the penalty where the ball landed. It's a good awareness that from the Springbok lock, and they've now got a penalty just inside the 22. Or have they gone back? They seem to have gone back now, back to the original mark. Chase Lonely saying, how was the worst South African team end up in the semi-finals? It's a very good point. A very good question as well. I suppose because they decided to actually play a bit of rugby. So I'll update the score. There it is. And there it is. It's taking a while for our data provider to kick in, but there it is. 7 points to 3. Just a short of 9 minutes point. And the reason they've gone back to the original mark is because Masuku preferred that angle. He has gone back to that, and he will attempt his second kick of the game, get them within 1 point. Baz saying, go on Clermont from a proud Bulls fan. And Chomnik one saying, Masuku's weakness is kicking for touch, needs to be more clinical in this. Yeah, I think you can't afford to miss touch if you're kicking for the line on the back of penalties. But needs to kick for a goal here, it needs to be accurate. Yeah, good kick there from Masuku. So back within a point. So it's a good response from the Sharks, and the discipline now costing Clermont early on here, but they still have a 1 point lead. Now on the right-hand side, they go from the restart to Clermont, and that's Vincent Tuka underneath, and he's starting to get back to his form that saw him get the contract offer from the Sharks when he was back at the Lions. And it's a great turnover, having said that, and that's the Etienne Foucault who's made it. Now, there we go, a bit of space, lots of space, and he's pointing to the kick through. Good tackle that from Lekanya. Doesn't manage to get back on his feet though, and eventually the tackle's completed by Ethan Hooker. Now flat ball, keeping it nice and tight. I think it's Rob Simmons who takes it in. This is good momentum being built here by Clermont. Nice running lines as well. Slow ball here. The ball is available. A little chip over the top, and Fassi had just moved in there, so he will be able to mark us. There's a good read there from Fassi. I think he identified that there was a bit of space in behind and just shifted literally as he was shaping up for the kick. So good awareness from the fullback. And now he's going to use that left boot to try and find touch. Does find touch. Almost in the bin, actually. Here's a Zulu at the stoop. Oh, goodness me. But the first time I've seen that joke, I'm afraid, this week. Right, line out for Clermont. They go to the front of the line out, straight down. Options, bit of a wrap around. And it's a good tackle beam. It would be a good read as well. So they've lost some gain line there. Have Clermont, good defense of the Sharks. Now George Beria carrying it up. Goes to the boot here, does Bellew. And he's found touch on the full. So he's gifted Sharks a line inside Clermont territory. So yeah, I can see how angry he is as the fly half, and rightly so, really. Looks like a full line. That's a 5-man line chat for the Sharks. No, 6. Bongi Manambi to feed the line out. Etzebeth Kobler, your 2 options, and it goes to Etzebeth at the front of the line. A bit of a messy line, and Clermont have actually come away with it, but lost it forward in the process. So I'll go back for the scrum, and this is an area where I'm really keen. No, they're playing on there. The Sharks do have the ball back. Mapimpi carry into the tackle. Grant Williams going back. Starts to go on the blind side, identifying a bit of space. Oh, look at the offload. And Vincent Tuka's marauding down the left-hand side. Goes to the boot as well. Look at the skill set, and now it's very well tidied up there, and doesn't find does find touch. Does Alex Newsom. I'll tell you what, that's a brilliant little intervention there by Vincent Tuka and Eben Etzebeth. You'd think they were backline players with the soft skills, but now this is a genuine backline player. Up lane Fassi, he runs into his own plays. He's jumping over tackles, quite literally. Good run that from Fassi. Now, Pesi Buthelezi, quick defense up from Clermont. Bit of a late hit there on Grant Williams, and it is a penalty in front of the poles. So silly that. Right in front of the poles. This should be the Sharks back in the lead. Gives an opportunity to look at that Etzebeth offload. I want to look at this again. This is a little break. See, identify the space. Bang! Elizabeth stalls the dummy, puts in the handoff, and then puts out the chicken wing pass. Great kick that ahead from Vincent Tuka. And I'll tell you what, one more bounce the other side. And Grant Williams was lurking. Look at that pass. Brilliant pass. A bit of a nutmeg as well. Oh, and then straight to the legs of Pongi Minambi as well. A couple of nutmegs in that play, but right in front of the pass, Masuku. His turn, and that looks pretty good. It is good. And he converts his third three-pointer in 40 minutes. The discipline from Clermont absolutely killing him. Sharks back in the lead. They move to 9 points to 7. But as saying, kind of the Sharks becoming the first SA team to win a European Cup just wouldn't sit right with the Bulls. Then saying, even though the Bulls have never loaded themselves in this competition. Yeah, you're not wrong. Bridges took it underneath that once again, getting away from one, doing very well. Slightly isolated now. And support does come. And it is a penalty for holding on. Sharks breakdown work there. And off kickoff has been really, really poor. He's been so isolated, Bridges took it just by himself. Thomas Lavanini, though, has gone over the ball and won it back well. Yeah, very good work there from Lavanini. Interesting decision that time yet for Clermont. I think they'll take the points here, get themselves back in the lead, take a 1-point lead if they do. It was a good kick earlier by Anthony Billiard. They are going to take the points here after months. So, yeah, discipline costing both teams at the moment. Just trading a couple of penalties at the currently. Need to try and fix that up a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day in the office for the Shark of both teams if they continue conceding as many penalties as they have so far. Yep, good kick that. So, back into the lead, go Clermont. Frustrating time for the Bulls. Right, and lifting it high in the air. Pimpy almost the answer, but well, it's been spilled forward, in fact, so it's not going to advantage the Sharks on the front foot. Grant Williams popping up. Bongi Manambi takes the direct route. Rocks on the front foot inside the 22. Pesbutelez calling for it. He makes a yard or two. Out on the left-hand side. Masuku fires it low. Good take that from James Fenter, who steps back inside. Sucks on a couple of defenders. Good work that from him. Presented for Grant Williams. Not on the right-hand side to Etzebeth. I'll tell you what, he's kind of very quickly has Marcus Clermont to make that tackle. One of the few players in the world who could probably match the physicality of even Etzebeth. The Kanya presents for Grant Williams. Now Krobler pops it up to Peps Butelezi. Just short of the 22 here are the Sharks. Now back on the left-hand side, Masuku. To Etzebeth. Etzebeth deciding to go himself. Just taking on Thomas Lavanini. Now Bongi Minambi pops it to Masuku. Masuku pops it to Oxenchair. He's been lined up. He gets the offload away. It's intercepted, but they're going to go back for another penalty in front of the poles. This time for offside. And absolute disaster class of discipline here for Clermont, who have just regained the lead and are about to lose it once again. I mean, we're going to have over 20 points within 20 minutes, yet only one try, such as the discipline or the lack thereof of Clermont. Right, so Masuku will have his fourth shot at goal within 20 minutes. So not the disciplinary record that they were like for Clermont. I mean, in terms of a half-time tie, it'll be a pretty easy one to have. Just stop giving away penalties is basically what it'll be. And there's a familiar face for the Sharks. Here, Khaleesi in the crowd watching on. Rassi not involved this weekend, so he's was in, to be fair, I mean, he was in Potchefstroom 2 days ago when Rusty Rasmus received his honorary doctorate, so must have flown out yesterday and is there watching his former team. It's a good kick there from Williams, but it's been one back for Clermont. And there's a knockout advantage, which means we will finally have, no, we are still playing. Good hands, this from Clermont. No many options, so he goes himself, does Pekeliato, very big physical ball carrier. Gets the offload away. Very good hands at Sophia from Clermont. Now, skip pass, and there's a lot of space there. And it's the try scorer, Durand, who's eventually brought down just shy of the 22. Good work this from the men in yellow. Now, flat ball. Big carry as well. Coming from the prop area. Now, options. Another skip pass and a pop. Good take, that. And Fritz Lee comes back inside, the captain. Into the 22 they go. Now, strong carry there from Fossard. Little chip over the top, little cross kick, in fact. And it's been well taken. Steps inside. He's going to go over for a second. He is going to go over for a second. Or is he? Ethan Hooker almost doing very well, but it's a double for Jonas Durant. Pinpoint cross kick, and then he steps inside Werner Koch. Goes over, and Clermont have struck again. They've looked really, really positive with ball in hand. And it's their second try. They're back in the lead. Great bit of hands there early on. Well, he's got 5 tries at the Challenge Cup. He scored 2 of them today. Good time to score. Very good time to score. A great cross kick. So pinpoint, especially to have, because Vinnercock's back tracking down the right hand side. So that step inside is always going to do him. Well, Wings are paid the big money to finish tries. It's exactly what he's done twice in this semi-final so far. Yeah, it doesn't look like a terrible crowd. Not jam-packed. Quite a few empty seats, but not terrible. I like to see what the main grandstand looks like from a numbers point of view. Playing at the home of Harlequins, who are in action tomorrow in France when they take on Toulouse. Right, that kick this time going on the left-hand side, so it remains a 3-point advantage, and given the fact that Clermont have been dishing out so many penalties, that could very well be an opportunity for Sharks quite shortly to try and level up. Sharks yet to score a try, Clermont with 2. Couple of missed tackles, but it's just the pace of play here from Clermont, which is too much for the Sharks. Good chase there from Vincent Koch of all people, but he almost manages to sneak through. Eventually brought down by Cabran Krobler. Down the right-hand side, Lavanini runs into Vincent Koch. It's a bit trying to go for the charge down, but going too early, so he steps away. And now Tester here for Varsity. The ball comes loose and falls to Masuku, steps away from 1. Now Krobler goes himself on the halfway line, manages to make a meter or 2 on the ground. Grant Williams looking for options. Wants to go down the right side. Now he chips to the head for James Benter. It's going to pop up for him. Runs away from the support. Ball gets ripped in the tackle as well. So going back to try and clean up is Baptiste Janou. Now it's a good carry there from Rob Sibbons. Up quickly there is Oxenchair, but onside. Now a bit of space. Once again, Nakanya has to come up and make the read. Does do it very, very well. Forcing his opposite number, Julian Heritier, to go himself. Now, short pop there. Good work there. And Berriere caught on the ball. Good physicality on that occasion from the Sharks. Now, pimping out of space. Big tackle, big hit that as well. It's down wide. Now, Bongi Manambi, somebody's gone very low there. It's Lavanini. Good tackle from him. Now Etzebeth pops it to Masuku. Masuku to Lekanya. Now Fussy spotting a bit of space down that left-hand side. I think he might have overcooked that slightly. It's going to hold up, but just over the truck. No, in fact, it's not going to be allowed to hold up. Right up against the touchline. Won't find touch. Now Fussy with some space. Fussy, oh, look at the step from him. Great step. Eventually brought down. Sharks back on the front foot, though. Grant Williams fires with Etzebeth. He's been very strong today. You need your big player to stand up when it comes to player of rugby. Oh, my goodness me. Vincent Tuka has been lined up and hammered down there. Got no options there for Grant Williams. Goes to Masuku. Masuku also got no options. Oh, my word. He's also been flattened. Great tackling by Clermont. But another penalty by Barriere right in front of the poles. And this is going to probably be 15-15. But let's look at this hit on Vincent Tuka. Double hit. Bang. Fritz Lee actually pretty much did the bulk of it. It's a huge tackle. Oh, jeepers me. Boom. Yeah, it's Simmons and Fritz Lee. I think the tackle's okay. But it's normal. I mean, we're watching it over and over again. I think they're having a look to see if it was legal. I think it is completely legal. I think it's just a proper rugby tackle. Yeah, so nothing wrong with the tackle there, they say. There'll still be a penalty, and Masuku will be lining this up, is lining this up as we speak to try and level the scores. Well, he's 4 from 4 so far, is Masuku. And not too many difficult ones, actually. Clermont, I mean, that's ridiculous when you think he's going to kick his 5th penalty within 25 minutes. They're giving away a penalty, a kickable penalty every 5 minutes on Clermont. It's going to be a long 80 to continue to do that. And it's a good kick there from Masuku. We can just see Twickenham in the background. The box will be there at the end of the year. A couple of these players will be looking to be part of that squad. Etzebeth definitely will, but players like Masuku maybe could be looking to put his hand up to try and get a block caller. Updated Fassi, desperately trying to get back into that setup. But having said that, I'm seeing a Francois Fenta, and it looks like the young Ethan Hooker has been replaced. So 2 early changes here from the Sharks. Not what John Plumchey would have wanted. And Clermont Cobbler still on, and that's taking on the air surely. No, he gets up and he wants to go again, but that's a poor tackle. Once again, Clermont discipline. I mean, I think Mr. Pierce is going to have a word here and say, if you don't start cleaning up the discipline, then there's going to be somebody going to the bin. It's Marcus Kramer, yeah. And he goes up, and then, yeah, I think he was just trying to pull out, to be fair to Kramer, and just waiting to try and make the hit, and then had overrun it. And probably does also exacerbated by deciding to lift his legs up as he was going down. Mark saying, your commentary is better than most professional, usually ex-pundits. Well, thank you. I try. Yeah, very far from an ex-professional, but out you. Distract the Sport saying, great trials, creativity versus hard South African grind. Sharks will win the war eventually if they can get their D sorted. You're not wrong, actually, to be fair. I think at the moment, the Clermont discipline is, and we're having a look at the TMO once again to see if this is maybe more than a penalty. Could be risk losing a card. Yeah. How dangerous is this? Marcus Kramer. Yeah, it's not great, is it? Not great. So it's another decision that they're going to have to make here. All right, so what's going to happen here? Are we going to see Clermont go down to 14 men? Be a big help for the Sharks if they were, but I mean, they're just keeping the Sharks. They are keeping the Sharks in the game themselves. All right, what's the decision here? Yeah, he's just led with his head, which is the weird thing. Very, very strange. Right, well, I think that's Marcus Kramer into the bin, which is not a player that they would want to lose. In fact, when I did my preview, I said that's one of the players to watch. That'll be one of their big players for them, Marcus Kramer, one of the best players in the world in this day. Absolute legend of the game is Marcus Kramer, but it looks like he might be spending 10 minutes in the bin. a penalty. Fitz is not happy. Well, he's been told off for his manners, has the He said, don't feel sorry for him. I'd love to actually hear exactly what he said to him. So he made a comment to Marcus Kramer, and Fritz Lee didn't enjoy it. And Luke Pierce has had talking to Lekanyan saying, and I quote, "We don't need manners like that in this game." So, yeah, Luke Pierce saying, and I did wonder about this, that, and this is a big problem, when they're being held in the air and not coming down normally. Usually, as you take it, we go bring them down. Similar type of thing with the lineout. You can't hold the jumper in the air to try and delay the hit and then win yourself a penalty. So they're saying that he was in the slightly high and didn't bring him down, and then saying that, but in saying that, he then says Marcus Kramer, and he says needs to get the timing right. I think it's a yellow card. I think that Marcus Kramer's gotten away with that. I think that's why Lekanya is probably rightfully pretty pissed off. That's a big tackle coming on to see Masuku, but it's another penalty for offside against Clermont. I mean, the penalty count here is getting ridiculous. Surely you might have to see a card soon. And got a bit of a gash above his eye here. Does the Clermont fly half? 8 penalties conceded. We're not even half an hour in the game. And I think he's going to have a shot here, is Sia Masuku. He is indeed. I mean, 8 penalties, 6 of them have been kickable. That's absolutely mental. Yeah, the comment that Kanyan said to referees, don't feel sorry for them. Well, he's trying a bit of a snap there, and I tell you what, that's come back beautifully. Well, those are the tricks of the trade, isn't it, from Sia Masuku? The initial angle was horrendously off, but he delivered that very deliberately. He's actually bent it like Beckham, in and out. Ah, slotted, mate. The Bears are on form, and look at this kick. Look at the direction, literally. That's phenomenal. That's Dan Carter-esque. Yeah, hey, Mr. Sauce Masuku. Well, they've lost the ball here, Sharks. They've allowed them to come back in. Now back on the front foot here. And I'll tell you what, whenever they've had ball in hand, they've looked really threatening after Clermont. So work here for the Sharks. Got to try and make sure they sort the defense out, because this Clermont side look like they're going to score a lot of tries. Kind of a bit loose here. Looking for options here is Joannu. Goes himself, does the scrum off. Now a couple of forwards come in just to try and pick up and go. Pick and go, and then popping it up to his countryman, Marcus Kramer. Oh, look at the lines. Oh, the matchup. They're going to go over. They're over once again. Clermont with 3 tries inside half an hour, retake the lead. I mean, this is becoming this is one of the most ridiculous matches I think I've ever actually watched. It's Clermont all over the Sharks, scoring 3 tries, but then every single time allowing them back in the game through poor discipline. And it's Alex Newsom who's gone over. Been one of their best players of the season, I'm told. The Australian 28-year-old. Used to play for the Western Force back in Super Rugby days. Then also played for the Waratahs, and he's been at Clermont for, I think it's his 2nd or 3rd season. Played age group rugby for Australia, played under 20s, but never got a senior call up. And now, well, he's scoring again. He's scoring in semi-finals at the Stoop. And Mapimpi tries to go for the retry, shoot out, and gets it wrong. Then it's unfortunately just an overlap. Hands. He cuts inside. Sharks back behind by 2 with a kick to come. And yeah, I mean, close on 40 points. Well, it will be 40 points if he does nail this. Inside half an hour. Well, half an hour on the dot. Lots of block jerseys in the stands. He has already missed one, yes, Anthony Bellew, but this is quite straightforward. As you can see on the little tracker there. It'll be in line with that try. Bellew, that's a good kick from him. And Clermont extend their lead to 4 points. The game goes to 40 points after 32 minutes. Oxen chair there, the ball being ripped by Rob Simmons. And then bang, defense into attack like that. But the Sharks' defense is like a sieve at the moment. Ball eventually available here for Clermont. Goes to the boot, does Janu. And does find touch. Eight appearances for Samoa Tricely, the New Zealand former New Zealand Sevens player. Born in Samoa, then did the classic move to New Zealand, played Super Rugby, played for the Chiefs for a brief period, but he's a bit of a Clermont legend. He's been here for over a decade and returned to international rugby in the jersey of his home country, Samoa. Big carry that now from, I'll tell you what, he's been very good today, has Pikeli Yatu. Now, once again, the space, and they skip past, gone to the boot. He's searching for a hat-trick here, is Durant. Good pick up there, but then a lost forward from operator Fassi. It will be a knock-on advantage here for Clermont, but they're looking to run. That's a long pass out wide from Leon Dara Carrera. Pops it up as well to Yatu, trying to move his hands. The confidence that Clermont are playing with. Sharks need to get to half-time here. Short there to Berea, and it's a good tackle coming from Oxford Chairs. Opposite nobody, but he lets it go and picks it up and has another go. So it's a good skill set that I've been so impressed with, I think, so far for Clermont. Look, a very organized team. And on the right-hand side, they go. Lavanini goes himself. Now they'll chip over the top, spotting that space, and Grant Williams is going to go across, but right up against the touch line, and he wants to go himself, steps inside. Oh, look at the pace from Grant Williams. Bang, around the outside as well. Inside balls, but knocked backwards by Clermont. Then picked up, and now they're going on the attack. I think it's his opposite number, actually. It is indeed. Now quick ball here, options, and they keep it in the forwards as Fritz Lee goes on a good run, and he pops it up to his tight head, Rabah Slimini. Now on the left-hand side, then Newson, the try scorer, he tabs it through, and he's searching for a hat-trick, but he's not going to get it. The ball will run dead. But lurking is Joris Durant. And he needs more attention on that eye is the Clermont fly half. An exciting half this so far with just short of 6 minutes remaining. I mean, they break from Grant, it looked really promising, and then knocked down, and then picked up and had another go. So looking at some potential foul play. I'm not exactly sure which tackle. They haven't shown it just yet. So no issue there. It will continue to be a scrum. Just outside the 22. It will be a Sharks ball. Just sort of saying Sharks defense is a joke. You're not wrong there, mate. You're not wrong. And Sean Farrell saying Sharks, me and Clermont look good. They're looking very good. I think, to be fair, I think probably a combination of both. I think Clermont have been good on attack, but Sharks have been very porous on defense. Right, a bit of break and play. We're eventually going to get things back underway. And I don't think we've actually... I think this could be the first scrum. The 35th minute. Yeah. And this is for me, an aspect of the game I think the Sharks could potentially dominate. So, the fact that it's taken them 35 minutes to get to one, well, I'm sure it'll be a bit frustrating for them. So, one finals will be determined here. The other finals will be determined also in the UK. It is Gloucester versus Benetton later. Well, I'll tell you what, that's not a good scrum for the Sharks. And it's turnover ball, in fact. No, in fact, I think Grant Williams has managed to get the ball over there. But it's a penalty. It was completely isolated for Clermont. What a scrub that was from them. I said it was an aspect that I thought that the Sharks could potentially dominate. Proved to be quite the opposite. They were hammered in that scrum. Then Grant Williams under a lot of pressure. Has now been penalised for holding on. But look at this over here. And it's on the... I'll tell you what, it's on the Oxen Chair side. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Oxen Chair out scrum like that. Goodness me. Taking a look into take the 3 here at Clermont. And if Bellier nails this, then it'll be a 7-point lead. Just under 4 minutes until the halftime break. And I think very much needed from John Plumtrees because Joey Mangala's got a lot to account for with the defense while he'll be chatting to the team and trying to make sure that's what's going on there. But it's been pretty awful so far. So a kick to come, and here it is. And looking pretty good. Right, so they extend their lead to 25 points to 18. 7 points in it at the moment. Sharks still yet to score a try. All their points coming from the boot of CS Source Masuku. And Clermont has scored 3 tries in reply, as well as 2 penalties. But a high-scoring affair over at Twickenham. Stoop. Right, so 3 minutes left. Sharks have got to find at least a penalty or something before half-time. Just can't get a bit of momentum back. Take it a while. It's a good, much better kick receive that. And he's going to go to the boot here is Janu. Does by a touch. Right, so an opportunity now with the Sharks. It is a line out well inside Clermont territory, halfway between the 10-meter and the 22. So an attacking now ready for the Sharks. An opportunity for them to try and conjure up their first try of the match. They've got 2.5 minutes to do so. And it's been stolen. Well, that might actually sum up the half, really. Stepping his way is Bautista Delgado. Got a good pair of heat. There's the Argentinian. Once again, space out wide. Lacanyan makes the tackle. Clermont back in Sharks territory, though. And the caution of the ball there is the scrum off. When it's available for Pritzley. Barrier with another carry. That Lucette Pross been very busy so far today. And good take that from up here. Varsity Sharks now just outside their 22. Taking his time here is Grant Williams. Eventually goes to the boot. Oh, almost taken brilliantly by Werner Koch, who's down and winded, I think. Knock-on advantage for Clermont. Good tackle there coming from Pepsi Boutelezi. On the right-hand side. Space. Steps back inside. Almost getting it. Gets outside of Lacania. And ball back inside to Newsom, the try scorer. Clermont once again back on the front foot, just outside the 22. Looking for options. Goes to Berrier. He's always there to carry. Is the loose head. Now on the bounce. Great pick up to Yata. He should have released. Werner Clark back on his feet. Makes the tackle. Desperate defense now. Grant Williams comes through and turns it over. Very good awareness that from the scrum half. And they've got possession here with 20 seconds to go. Werner Clark was going to go to one more phase to Etzebeth. And then I think they'll just pop it out and say, thank you very much. That's it. No, they're not, because the one thing they couldn't do is keep the ball. And Bongi Manambi, hands up, shouting. I think he's furious with his teammates. All they needed to do is run one more phase, and they could have got to half-time. Instead, they conceded a late penalty. It is kickable, and they might yet go down into the change rooms with a 10-point gap. Good work that from Grant Williams. This over here. So Etzebeth goes in with Vincent Koch, and he goes straight over the top. Does Marcus Kramer. That's a great turnover. It really, really is. He was so quick to get there. I mean, it's a big shout, the idea of not picking any Sharks players. You're not going to pick Edwin Etzebeth for the box, or Oxen Chair, or Bongi Banambi, or Vincent Koch. Quite a few players who I think will very much be, or Grant Williams, for example, or Jaden Hendrickson. Yeah, I think it's quite that simple. Yep, it's a good kick. Very good kick. Right, so half-time, Sharks trailing. Kept in the game by the discipline of Clermont, but as soon as that sort of started to be cleaned up, they didn't really have much answer. Clermont have been all over them. They take a 10-point lead into half-time, and a very, very worrying signs ahead for the Sharks fans. For Clermont fans, well, they'll be pretty chuffed, I think, with life. But we're going to go to a bit of a break. We'll see you guys after half-time. Don't go away. We're going to play a bit of our podcast I do with Mr. Dan Scholz. Between two fans, keep you entertained, and I'll see you in just a few.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Between Two Fans with myself, Daniel Scholz, and Stevie P. We are covering the world of sport, the highs, the lows, all the stories that you need to hear the last week. Stevie P, how are you doing, kind sir?
Yeah, it's a tough time out here, Dan. It's public holiday tomorrow. I've got a 7:45 tee off. So it's a little bit of a midweek. Yeah, bit of a midweek break. So it's I think today it almost hit the record high for the hottest 30th of April we've ever had in the country. So it's a tough life we're living down here in SA, but we're grinding through.
To be fair, today has probably been the hottest day of the year in the UK, and it hit a soaring 18 degrees. So we're both winning, It's some on different scales than others, but I'd say we're both winning. And unfortunately, I'm not winning in the golf department because I'm absolutely not playing golf tomorrow morning and not having public holiday. I'll be joining.
And our teams aren't exactly doing very well at the moment. Well, my teams, actually, both of our teams are not doing very well. So we're not winning, off the pitch there. Or on the pitch with regards to professional sports. And so our individual sport careers will have to carry us through.
Yeah, it's been a tough month from the perspective of us as supporters. Actually running my first ever marathon this weekend. So hopefully the athlete in me, I don't know, somewhere dark and deep down might present itself this weekend. And
so do we dare ask for, are there goals, or is it just finishing now?
Start to finish, brother. Start to finish
sub 3, try and look for that.
No, we're hiking Everest this weekend. But
is it a trail or is it a road?
Yeah, it's a trail up the Welsh mountains.
A trail 42.
Gonna go find some dragons up there at the altitude. But Stevie, that's not what people want to hear about. They want to hear about how the predictions were last week. And the big story was that last week I managed to turn it around finally. I believe the score is 8-3 now, having just kind of got the tide to turn. And there are 3 different fixtures that we bet on every single week, and we see who is more correct. Stevie is giving me the thumping of my life, but I've just recently won. So let's get through what we bet on last week. First match, Lions versus Munster. Oof. tough one to watch as a Lions fan. Stevie, your prediction was was Lions by 5. Mine was Munster by 3. Results 33-13 to the men.
Close.
Yeah, sure.
For about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So a resounding win for Munster, massively successful tour for them in South Africa.
Can I just say, I think that these last 2 games for me surely have to put them as, I wouldn't say favorites whilst you got a Leinster, but I tell you what, they're looking hard to beat. Eh?
The only thing that's not putting them in favorite is their actual league position, because they may not have a home city and final. So, but 100% form, they've struck form at the perfect time. The second match, Stevie, and I don't think I've ever got a Stormers prediction correct, but Stormers versus Leinster, as predicted, Leinster was a bit of a weakened squad, and I didn't think Stormers would bounce back as they did. Stormers winning that game 42 points to 12, resounding 30-point win. And my prediction was Stormers only by 7. Yours was Stormers by 12. Again, not very close, but Stevie, you took that one home and drawing it up at 1-1. And our final match of the weekend, Spurs versus Arsenal, North London derby. A lot to play for, Premier League, top 4, both teams wanting to kind of derail the other one. That game ended 3-2 with to Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal going 3-0 ahead. Spurs almost clawing it back.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was getting a bit dicey at the stage for Arsenal.
Very dicey. I think no one was more happy than David Raya to make sure that game got wrapped up, because he was the reason that they even let Spurs back into that game. But Stevie, your prediction was 2-1 Spurs, and mine was 2-2. So closer than yourself. So I'm back. It's 8-4. I've halved the deficit.
Half the deficit in 2 rounds here, dude.
You're talking momentum. Tomorrow is May, and I'll be taking that momentum into May.
So the question is, Dan, what is the real marathon? What you're running on Sunday, or this comeback in the prediction game, dude?
I mean, this one feels longer. I might have different.
This one feels more unassailable. Bring on the mountain.
Yeah, this is a bigger mountain to climb. But Stevie, you mentioned Munster and the talk of URC. Let's get into last week's results, because, geez, I mean, you feel like you have a grasp of which way this top 8 is going to go, and then week on week it just turns itself on its head. And
I think if you were to look at my thumbnails for my weekly URC review, you'd think I didn't know what was plotting. Because every week it's like Lions up for the top 8, then it's like have Lions bottle top 8, like Bulls back. Then it's like, Bulls going downhill. The Stormers on the downward trajectory, putting 40 points against Leicester. So it's the most ridiculous URC season.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Ospreys having gone and beaten Stormers last week, everyone kind of, bigging them up in the conversation, and now all of a sudden dropped down to 10th after taking a big L to the Bulls. But let's quickly cover some of those fixtures. A massive, massive win for Ulster, 38 points to 34 versus Benetton. Again, both teams in that top 4 race. Ulster having a horror season off the pitch, managing to kind of keep it going on the pitch, to be fair. And you've got to give the players a lot of credit for that, trying to kind of put that behind them.
Just really trying to drag themselves through it, aren't they? I mean, if they can get that top 8, then talk about salvaging a disaster season.
Yeah, no, it'll be massive for them. I mean, anything in the top 8, I think, is honestly impressive, especially just with how spread out and how big the competition has been. Big win for Sharks, who played mostly a first team against the Scarlet.
And left. We're never really in the driving seat. It was a bit of a weird game. Had to keep sort of coming into it, keep trying to sort of see them off. I was impressed by Scarlets.
I thought, to be fair, I thought the Sharks let them in at the end there. They should never, Charlotte scoring like 2 minutes from time and almost having a crack at the final whistle for the line, but not to be. Our boy Sia Masuku pulling strings, 3 MOMs in a row. Werner Koch hat-trick. He's been playing some really good rugby, to be fair, recently. Speaking of Ulster, he'll be there next season.
That's part of the rebuild.
Glasgow Warriors now lead top of the table with their 40-point.
With space,
With a bit of space. I mean, is the paying for not sending any teams? I mean, I don't think they'll be worried too much. They'll probably end on top in any case. But
because Glasgow Warriors have come down to Ellis Park, so they're definitely losing at least one game in the last 3.
But it's nice to see, to be fair, Scottish side that's not just mid-table. I mean, Edinburgh, I think they're quite hot and cold. But I think it's nice to have at least a team from each country representing. We've seen Benetton represent. Obviously, Italy. We haven't quite found our Welsh representation or spearhead yet, but the other fixtures were obviously, as we mentioned, Munster 33 points to 13, Connacht 34 points to 27 versus the Drags, who almost caused a bit of
that could have been a massive result for me as a Lions fan. I was monitoring that because when I thought that there could actually be a chance for Dragons to pull up a bit of a result there, it could have been big.
Yeah. And then Edinburgh 24 points to 7, Stormers 42 points to 12. Stevie, walk us through this top eight battle. What are you seeing here?
Well, there's a bit more space now. If you go back at one stage, it was like 5th through to 11th was separated by like 2-3 points. There's a bit more space now when you think the Lions are now 4 points behind, 5 points behind 8th. So there is a bit of space. But because a lot of these teams are playing against each other, there's maybe not as much space as you think, because the Lions are playing against a Cardiff and the Glasgow Warriors. So they're not playing against anybody sort of in and amongst their that fight, but a lot of them are. So, and Edinburgh goes and beats an Ulster, for example, or vice versa. And all of a sudden, there's lots of these teams will be dropping points in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So, I think, as a Lions fan, for example, down, not out there. I think, 2-3 more wins, I think does get them top 8. I do see a couple of these teams dropping points, but it's one of those things now where bonus points are going to come into it. Lions were paying the price for not getting enough wins because, for example, they don't go to points difference, they go a number of wins. So Lions have been 11th, despite being level on points with the 2 to 3 teams the last couple of weeks, purely on number of wins. So it's interesting how that could actually play a bit of a role. Bulls, however, they've kind of managed to get themselves back into that purely top 4 race, putting 6 points between them and the Stormers.
And I don't think the top 4 I don't think anyone will move in and out or out of that top 4. I think it still might shuffle around. Maybe Leinster, Munster could even flip around. Glasgow might not finish top. I feel like Bulls will probably stick around there, but it's really that 5 to 8 that's the big one. I have faith now in the Stormers. I think sitting on 45 points. To be fair, 8th is only on 44. As you said, there are those head-to-head battles that's really going to tie it up. I mean, you kind of need to be drawing for a couple draws almost in the upcoming weeks. If you look at like a game, even like what's called Edinburgh versus Zebre, Lions Cardiff, that's going to be massive for you. I'm actually looking. There aren't that next week, at least. There aren't that many that's in that top 8 battle next week.
The last 2 weeks are very.
Yeah,
but the thing is, but if you look, for example, if you look at the top 8, some of the guys who are in the top 8 have some big clashes. So for example, Bulls versus Glasgow, for example, it's not a massive game, but Edinburgh. I'm looking at Sharks Benetton, for example. In theory, you look at the opposition and think it's a pretty straightforward game. If the Sharks are out of the Challenge Cup, for example, then they could play a first team there. It's tough for the Benetton to come down and get a result there. Munster looking for top spot. They got Connacht. And then Leinster Ospreys, so a lot of, for example, you could be seeing Benetton, Connacht, Ospreys all dropping points there. And Lions beating Cardiff suddenly puts them back in amongst the pigeons.
Big one. Also, final weekend is going to be Benetton, Edinburgh. Almost certainly going to be kind of a winner takes all type of endeavour. And not to mention kind of the Munster-Ulster one, which will be Munster looking to get kind of probably a home semi versus Ulster looking to qualify. So we love a bit of jeopardy here on the show, Stevie. We do love a bit of jeopardy. And this is.
I think that's going to be what's so exciting is that these last 3 weeks mean a lot to all 8 teams.
Yeah.
The top 4 is not done. First is not done. 7 to 8. There are 11 teams out of 16 who are fighting tooth and nail for every last point.
Yeah.
Previously, I think the top 8's been relatively sort of maybe 8 or 9. And then we're kind of just seeing what's going on between the sort of the top 2.
Agreed. And to be fair to like the Scarlets and Dragons, they're still putting up fights. It's not like they've just packed in the season.
They're not walkovers, yeah.
Sharks still need to stay on top. They want to obviously win the Challenge Cup, knowing the qualification for the UFC is out of the picture. But to keep that winning momentum is crucial for them. So that's, I think, a good segue, to be fair, to what is happening this weekend. The Stoop is becoming the Stoop in London, as Sharks are technically hosting Clermont in the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup, as Gloucester host Benetton. Gloucester not having the best year in the Premiership, so we've done well really to get to this stage. How are you seeing these games going, Stevie?
Well, I think it's a lot of teams who, as you mentioned, there's not a lot for them league-wise. So it's such a big opportunity for them to get something out of the season. This is their last, Sharks. They can win all 3 games in a row with bonus points when it comes to the URC, and they still will not touch 8th. They'll still be 4 points behind. So there's nothing for them left in the URC.
Yeah.
But there's a Champions Cup spot at the end of that Challenge Cup. You look at a Benetton, for example, they're fighting and this potentially could not make the top 8. They might be outside the Champions Cup next season, but there's a Challenge Cup in 2 victories' time. So for me, that I think is what's so exciting about the Challenge Cup games, is that there's so much to play for. I mean, obviously your Champions Cup, all these teams, Toulouse, Leinster, Northampton, all looking to try and win their local leagues. Yeah. But the Champions Cup is the coveted cup. The Challenge Cup, some people might not rate, but for all the teams currently in it, it's such a big deal for them.
Absolutely. I mean, the highest position is Benetton out of those 4 left, and they're in 8th. Sharks in 13th, obviously out of kind of 16. And then Gloucester 9th out of 10, and Clermont are 10th in the top 14. So kind of this is, for a lot of them, other than Benetton, the rest of them don't have actually that much to play for. This is it. So it'll be interesting to see how Benetton manage that. They do have a decent squad, at least, but I'm really excited for the Sharks. I think, I don't know, do you agree that most South African fans are supporting the Sharks? Should we? I'm so conflicted. I've never.
Yeah, I know.
Because I've never.
My problem is
Bulls to win Super Rugby, but now I feel some sort of affinity. I don't know. I think
right, and we are back. Welcome everybody back to the semi-final of the EPCR Challenge Cup. Sharks trailing Clermont by 10 points, and they've just won a penalty off the kickoff, which is about right, because Clermont Disciplinary is the only team that's kept Sharks in the game. They've yet to score a try. All 18 points have come from the boot of Masuku. Clermont, on the other hand, have scored 3 tries and definitely looked the better side so far. Sharks' defense basically non-existent. And the attack, well, not much better, to be honest. So John Plumtree, I'm sure, would have gotten stuck into them at half time about the performance that they've seen. But as a penalty early on for shielding the catcher from the Sharks. So the worst possible start from them. And they're potentially going to go 13 points down because they conceded a penalty in the first minute. You spent 10 minutes in the change room talking about how you're going to win, how you're going to improve, how you're going to get the second half. I'm sure the big talking point would have been we score first. We score first, score a try, for example, and you're right back in this game. Instead, they've conceded a penalty right in front of the post, and Anthony Bellier, who's protected very well today, is going to make us a 13-point game. Yep, no mistake there from the fly half. And 31 points to 18. The Sharks could very much be bowing out of the Challenge Cup should they not really clean up their act here. You can see the frustration there from Upper Varsity in his face. And just not good enough at the moment. Let's see what they can conjure up though from the kickoff. They go down the left-hand side. In fact, they go down the centre. And well taken by the fullback and try scorer Alex Newsom. Now it's high in the air, and Masuku underneath it. Masuku wants to go himself. Now Oxen Chair pops it up to Lukanya Adams wrapping around. It's a good take from Vertical right against the touchline, and he's thrown it back inside. Not gone out, so Upper Fussy comes away with the tries to straighten, and the gap does close. There is a replacement, by the way, for Clermont. And Tibal Lenin has come on for Lavanini. Right, bit of space. Stefan's got Fenn has been caught on the ball. Substitute for Ethan Hooker. Sharks using 2 players earlier in the game. Oxen Chair has Evan Etzebeth behind him, as well as Pepsi Buthelezi. Back inside their own half. They're going to have to go to the boot channel, losing absolutely all the game line, getting no momentum so far. Now, free kick there from Grant Williams. Makazuma Pimpy will give chase. And it's once again taken pretty well from Houston as well to get his body down to the ground. On the left-hand side, go Clermont. It's Marcus Kramer, who runs into Bongi Manambi. Now, once again, go to the boot chase, Baptiste Janu. I'm going to test Fussy. Does well. He gets caught on the ball. Pops it up to James Fenter. James Fenter. He's worked hard so far as the Sharks to lose forward. But once again, going to go to the boot check. Edgegar Williams. The Pimpy giving chances a bit further. And it's popped off by Newsom. Good tackle here from Pepsi. A little bit lazy, but they get the offload away. That's a great offload. Well, it's Fritz Lee. Fritz Lee with the best play. Oh, it's a great offload. Can he has done it. As you know, ball back inside. And Beria, that's a great tackle came from Jay Spencer and picked up by Werner Koch. Now Fassi with space. Offloads to Tuka. Pops it up to Masuku. Masuku seeing a bit of space. Goes to the boot. Favorable bounce though. And Batista Dalgai comes away with it. And will look to find touch. Does find touch. And Sharks will not take it quickly. They'll have a line inside their own half. And that's great work from Batista Dalgai. Good turnover ball. Then all of a sudden, the Sharks looking to try and attack. But he gets himself back very, very well. The handling so far from Clermont's been absolutely brilliant. Good line at that time for the Sharks. Fenter goes to Masuku. Masuku front foot ball to Fenter. Fenter goes himself. Presents well to Grant Williams. Goes back to Masuku in the pocket. Masuku down that right-hand side. Just trying to play a bit of a territory game. Ball goes back to Masuku. He's got Fussy for company. Sends it downfield. Fussy will give chase, but it's pretty deep. That was touched, so that puts everybody on the side. It's a good run though, that from Masuku. Runs towards some support. Quick ball here from Grant Williams. Etzebeth decides to go himself. He's tired of watching everybody else getting in the action, not getting enough carrying. On the right side, this is Finch Tuka this time. Good carry from him. Now Williams going to go to the boot. Werner Koch gives chase. Just inside the 22. Hits the. Oh, it's a great hit that from Werner Koch as well. Good counter back coming from him, but the Clermont players do pile into the rack and manage to secure it. Ball available. And they pop it up to the. Almost crawling on the ground there. It was Etienne Foucault. Nah, that clock's got straight back up and needs to win this on the Sharks side. Grant Williams going to have to get back and fetch this. Looking for options, yes. Sees a bit of space. He's going to go straight through as Grant Williams. Eventually talks ball down, pops it up to Vincent Tsuka. It's not a bad offload, but not going to hand and then left behind by Pepsi Buthelezi. That must be knocked on at some point. And there was a bit of knock-on advantage, but eventually they do finish it. So it will go back for a scrum and it'll be Clermont feed. Sharks just not happening for them at the moment. Need something to change for them. And that was Beria and Pepsi Buthelezi getting to know each other off the ball. I'm going to break and play here. I think it's James Pender receiving a bit of treatment. Everyone's going to get a bit of water in their systems here. Got to find a way into this game with the Sharks. They need a moment. And they need more than that. They need 2 converted tries just to get the lead back. Right, so big scrum over here, and we saw that the Clermont absolutely hammered the Sharks with one of the scrums early in the game. We've had next to no scrums actually. I think this could actually only be the second, which I don't think would has really suited the Sharks. They're a good scrummaging side, so they'll want to have had more of that. It's another big scrum there from Clermont, looking to keep the ball in, and it goes on the right hand side. I think they do have a penalty advantage. Ball backs inside. Oh, it's a great wraparound. But Bautista Dahl, guys, still going. Eventually brought down Percy Buthelezi. Clermont are about 20 meters short. Good tackle, that important tackle that on an end. Berea now. Ball pops up. Big carry that from Yato. And caught on the ball there and lost forward. Turnover ball here for the Sharks. Very important turnover there. Clermont skilled there. That would have been the game done. And now Oxen Chair in that scrum off. Waiting for Grant Williams, who does appear. Goes back to see Masuku. Masuku needs to find touch. Won't find touch. Right up against the touchline. And very well to keep that in. In fact, has Newsom. And that's a good tackle on him. But Clermont back on the front foot. And they're trying to come through the rack there, the Sharks. Marcus Kramer being caught on the ball. Good tackle that on Fritz Lee. The Kanya I'm trying to jackal. Haven't really tested the breakdown so much, have the shot. Oh, a bit of a drop goal attempt here. Which has gone left from Bellio. Another big scrum. That's Shark scrum not working for them. The lineup wasn't really working for them earlier as well. Not much working. Right, and it's not particularly far restart there. And they're just outside the 22 are Clermont back on the front foot. Now looking for options. Looking for options. Almost a bit of gap opening up. Scramble defense. Francois Fento trying to get back in there. But they've done well to secure it. Oxenshire, I think, has turned that ball over. Etzebeth can't pick it up cleanly. Now there she does. Hands on the ball there. I think illegally, yeah. Berea has been pinged. So it is a penalty for the Sharks. We're under so much pressure. 10 minutes, they've barely been in the Clermont half. Masuku going down the right-hand side. Does find touch this time. Got to find a moment. Got to find a way back into this game here to the Sharks. They've got half an hour to do so. Trailing by 13. A try will put them back within the converted, or converted try puts them within a converted try of the lead. I believe they're only more, but being forced back here, the Sharks. Once is the call, they're going to have to use it here. Williams wants to go himself. Pops it up to Masuku. Masuku steps inside. Slightly isolated, but Verticock doing very well. The ball comes out the side, and it's turnover ball. Now on the touchline goes Durant. Oh, has he gotten it? Is it out? Well, he's in for a hat-trick potentially. That is a disaster from the Sharks. They've left it. They thought it was going to bounce and touch. They've left it. Durant has picked it up. He's gone over for a hat-trick. They're going to have a look at this, I think. This might be the biggest stuff I've ever seen in rugby. They look at the TMO here, I think. And something, if they don't find something, if they don't find a reason to disallow this try, then that is the Sharks' downfall. Let's have a look. Is he in touch? Is he in touch? So there, he's in touch. He's in touch. Yeah, he's in touch, I think. When he tries to tap it back inside, he's in touch. Yeah, it's going to save him. The TMO is going to save him. It was almost phenomenal play from him. I think it was also knocked forward as well. So I think it should be either a scrum or line up for the Sharks. Knock on is the call. Because I think he knocks it forward into the Kanyam and then regathers off him. So they'd be given a lifeline here, the Sharks. The question is, can they make it count? What a hatchet that would have been, though, for Durand. Well, that's what you want to see. A couple of fans walking past with the loggers. Big scrum. That's a much better scrum this time. Vincent Koch, and they've won the penalty. That could be the moment they needed. Huge scrum there this time. Vincent Koch coming through, and you can see Werner Koch doing the rounds, trying to hype out his players. Congratulations goes to Vincent Koch, who won that penalty. And now this is the question. Have they shifted a bit of momentum with that? It's a good touch fighter from Masuku. Into Clermont half they go. And it's Mr. Incredible himself. Look at the strength there. Bang! Just puts it, yeah, no, and just goes straight through. And it goes to Vichtuka, but it's been stolen by Clermont. So that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? And Ayata puts his head down. It bounced off Masuku, and Grant Williams smartly goes a bit lower. Bit of a... Oh dear, there's space out wide. Almost a bit of a forward pass there. So all the way back inside their own half is that really fast. He's going to trip it ahead of himself. He lifts it high in the air. And it's bounced back towards Makazol on the Pimpy. So Sharks back with possession on the 10-meter line. Grant Williams quick up the line there. Inside ball, the great inside ball to Francois Fento. He spins away from the tackler. Quick ball here. Oxenshare to Werner Koch. Werner Koch with a bit of space. Great offload. Evelyn Smith down the third. He's still going. Rampaging down that touchline. Looking for options. And it's Oxenshare trying to pop it off the ground there. Been told to leave it here is Maria. Now space. Space has to be. To Pepsi Buthelezi. He straightens. Strong carry from him. This is what the Sharks need. Short ball there for to Vincent Suzuka. It's exactly the type of position you want to see him in. Masuku going himself. Slightly isolated. No advantage. Penalty for the Sharks. All right, offside is the call. Great. I mean, the offload from Werner Koch was filthy. It's, I mean, name a more terrifying sight than Eben Etzebeth powering down the touchline. That was a bit more like from the Sharks. See, this is the thing within this season. They've shown glimpses at times of the team that they could be, of the way they can play, but it's just not happened regularly enough. And moments like that show you that there's a team there. The scrum, for example, there's a team there. I think they are taking the scrum here, by the way. Right, so Sharks scrum, 10 meters out. This is what they want. This is what they need. Got to try and find a penalty here. If not, try and work, get a penalty advantage, work and move off the right-hand side. You got Masuku, Lekanya, lurking. Get the ball into these sort of players' hands. Well, I'll tell you what, the ball's got on the side of Clermont, actually, so they've lost it. Have the Sharks. And it comes out, and it's kicked back. Oh, that's a disaster, an absolute disaster. Up in Varsity has managed to get back. Needs options. Varsity's going to go himself. Trying to get that offload through. Sharks all the way back towards the halfway line. Gonna have to rebuild from deep. Vincent Koch now. Grant Williams. Masuku goes to Lekanya. Lekanya steps inside. Still goes to Lekanya. Tackle on the ball there from his opposite number. Trying to rip it in the tackle, but he does well to hold on to it. Grant Williams decides to go down the short side. Pepsi Buthelezi runs back towards a bit of support. Takes the hit and spins off, but doing very well there was Pepsi Buthelezi, making a few yards. Now Oxenchair in the midfield. Pops it to Masuku. Masuku looking for options. Goes to Francois Benter. Varsity looking for the offload. Pops it up to Sia Masuku again. Masuku looking for options. Steps away from one. Almost gets through another. Pop it up to Varsity on the fringes of the rucks here. Slow ball this time for Grant Williams. Bongi Manambi decides to pop it up to Vincent Koch. It comes to the right. Slightly outstayed as Vincent Koch, but Vincent Tuka does arrive. Down the left-hand side they go. Oxenchair. To Lekanya, fires out to Francois Benter. A bit of an overlap here. Benter goes himself. Pick up and go from Lekanya. And there's a knock-on. Penalty, in fact. Right, to the corner they go. They have to. Have to. Varsity thought about taking it quickly, opted against it. Deliberate knockdown. And it's the yellow card. Well, there is the moment they've needed. And I mean, it's Bautista Delgi who's going to go off. And I'll tell you what, that's a big moment in this game. They needed a way back into the game to the Sharks. A yellow card could provide that opportunity. Down the left-hand side goes Sia Masuku. It's a decent touch finder from him. Sharks will be about 10 meters out against 14 men. And this is where they have to make it count. Got to score here. And Robert Slimani's been replaced. Right, big opportunity here for the Sharks. They're 10 meters out. 14 men for the next 10 minutes on Clermont. That's a great throw for him to Pepsi Buthelezi. Going to the back of the line. They're looking for the rolling more. Once again, they're being driven back. They're trying to peel towards the side and try and reset. Not really getting much dominance here. Grant Williams looking for options. Checking up that short side to see if it's on. Goes very flat. And Lekanya now pops up to Clermont Krobler. Needs to try to reestablish a bit of a go-forward ball here to the Sharks. And they try and find it through Pepsi Buthelezi, who's carried well so far today. Now Vincent Koch coming over around the corner. Masuku. Benter. Inside ball. Great ball there. Out towards Mapimpi. Mapimpi with a bit of space. Cuts inside. Working hard on the tackle, those Mapimpi. Now Bongi Manambi with a bit of a run-up. Ball available. Going right, left, but not getting much forward ball here. Masuku decides to go himself. Runs into Berea. Good leg drive there from Masuku. He has managed to get his knees to the ground. They've got to release him. Not too many options here for Clermont Krobler. Just goes himself. This is the problem. Sharks a bit directionless at the moment. Now, Francois Benter goes through. Inside ball is there. But he can't get it away to Grant Williams. Now, Vincent Tuka. Much better this from the Sharks. 5 meters out. Grant Williams looking for options. Now on the right-hand side. Goes Pepsi Buthelezi. And that's the substitute. That's doing a lot of defending here. Killian Tixerant. Tuka. Ball goes loose, but backwards. Oxen Chair pops to James Fenter. Some tired bodies out there. James Fenter going nice and low. James Fenter still going. And it pops up to Clermont Cobbler, who's just short. And it pops back to Oxen Chair, who's just short. If they can recycle this, they're right there, are the Sharks. Ball's available. And he's gone over as Mr. Tuka. Has he? Is he just short, I think? Ball's available once again. They're inches away on the Sharks. Now they're over, and I think it's Bongi Manambi. It's Vincent Koch. Mr. Incredible doing Mr. Incredible things. Chatuka with the earlier go, just short. Vincent Koch decides to take it from his fellow Vincent, and goes over. Well, momentum has definitely swung a little bit in the last few minutes. It's his first try in the competition. And they needed it. They really, really needed it. I think Clermont Cobbler's a bit sore, by the way, which is not particularly good for the Sharks, given that he's a replacement himself. And physicality. That's what we haven't seen. Physicality. Much, much better that from the Sharks. Right, so the Sharks are now almost back within when the tries reached, and Masuku's gone quite far back with his conversion. Needs to nail this, and he has. He absolutely. Oh no, it's come up. Oh no, I was off the back post. I was so confused. I thought it was going comfortably through. He's bending the ball inside. He's kicked beautifully. Right, so the Sharks have got a step back into the game. A converted try will take them back to the lead. So game very much back on. Still 6 minutes left on the yellow card. If they can score then and convert it, then it comes down to defending. It's a good take that from Eben Etzebeth. He's still going, is he, Eben? Now the try scorer, Vincent Koch. It's a nice carry from him. All of a sudden, the Sharks playing with a little bit more energy, I think. Seen a couple of big hits here. Now they're going to go to the boot. Grant Williams lifts it ahead. Bernard Koch after this. And he wraps up Alex Newsom, and James Fenter's there. Get on the left-hand side, yeah. They find a bit of space. It's Durant. He's going to chip and chase. Somebody has to get back. Oh, he's running into up there Fassi. And Fassi now looking to come away with it. He's gone for the cross kick. That's dirty. That's dirty, but it's paid off. Mapimpi with space. Mapimpi tips ahead. Now thrown back, but lost forward. I'll tell you what. That's a great kick as well. Cheap as me. That's some rugby on display there from both teams, to be fair. But I think it was carried back. So, in fact, it will be a Sharks line inside the 22. Disgustingly good, this from Upleader Fassi. Running, seeing the space, just chips it towards Mapimpi, who is in acres and acres of space. No, you can't really. I think that's fair to play on in terms, but that is so good from Upleader Fassi. Bang into the hands of Mapimpi, who's got Francois Fenter inside and maybe should have looked more for the options. They're having a look here at Upleader Fassi, whether he took out Durant. I think the bounce of the ball just takes them both out of it. Oh dear, oh dear. That looks like it's going to be a penalty. It could actually be a penalty try, to be honest. No, I think this is the bounce. I think if you slow this down, it looks bad. But I think in real time, I think the bounce of the ball does Upleader Fassi then. And then the ball bounces away from him, and he can't stop. So he's overrun and run into the man, but I think it's the bounce of the ball, to be fair. I think they're both genuinely running towards the ball. Yeah, I think that's a rugby collision. I think it's just two players running towards the ball. You see, you can't just stop. You can't just disappear. So I think it's going to be very, very harsh if this is a penalty. I mean, yeah, I think this is... The problem is, I mean, one's running forward, the other one's running across. So I think if you slow it down, it makes it look really bad for BITDEFENDER, but... Now it's going to be a penalty and potentially a yellow card. Yo, I think this looks... I said, watch it in full time. So BITDEFENDER is running here, and the bounce of the ball comes. I think that's harsh. Right, it's going to be a penalty and potentially a card here to BITDEFENDER. I don't think a penalty try, because they're saying there were a couple of other players in and around. The problem is, I think the problem with Varsity here is that he basically pulls out trying to go for the ball and basically like tucks his arm in. But again, you look at it in real time here, he's coming running across, the ball then bounces away from him, and then he runs into the player. I'm just looking at that kick, that was great. It is going to be a yellow card. Penalty, yellow card. Well, that's exactly what the Sharks didn't need. Just as they're looking to come back, they're now going to go down to 14 minutes. It'll be 14 on 14 for 5 minutes, and then... Yeah, but it's a bit there as well. Channing. Right, so they lost Varsity. So just as they were looking to potentially come back, Varsity's gone to the bin, and that could be it for them. Very, very interested to see what the reaction is going to be there. Yeah, I think he's been done with it by the replay. I said in real time, I think it's one of those things where he maybe should have anticipated the ball a bit better and sort of been running back towards the trial as opposed to running across to try and cut it off. But a big, big, big moment in the game. Yeah, taking the points here, Clermont. So just run the clock down a little bit on their yellow card. Well, he's missed it. He's missed it. Is that a lifeline? Is that a lifeline? Well, Sharks breathe a huge, huge sigh of relief. 15 minutes left on the clock. 3.5 minutes left on the Clermont clock. At the moment, it's 14 on 14. Masuku hammers that downfield. Now, chipped and High into the sky by Anthony Belier. Returned by Sia Masuku, but I think they could be out in the full. Well out in the full, in fact. Really, really bad kick that from Masuku. Has to do better. Has to do better. And this is the problem. We see a couple of players, in a playoff game, just be a little bit off with a couple of their decisions and having to pay the ultimate price for it at this stage. Varsity watching on now. He's been replaced. Keller's saying Sharks don't deserve to win. I don't think you're wrong, to be fair. They don't. They wouldn't. If Honor Yaku's, by the way, onto the park, as is Fez and Barter. And still going for Carl. That's a great carry from him. Jano Lapis Laviskakni's on as well. As is Intutuko Ntunu. So the bench and a couple of youngsters on to add a bit of energy. Very highly rated, Honor Yaku's been handed a long-term contract with the Sharks. And then they've lost to forward, you have Clermont. Backwards, in fact, is the call. Can I pass? It's been intercepted by Makazole Mapimpi. The turnover ball here from the Sharks. Now, Masuku's dropped back into the pocket. But Grant Williams is going to take... I think he might take responsibility himself. He does. And he's lifted high in the air. Mapimpi's chasing. Ball's gone back. And Ibn Etzebeth's been taken out. And they were asking about whether it was obstruction. But nothing so far from the referee. And it's a great bit. Oh, it's intercepted by Intutuko Ntunu. Knock on advantage once again for the Sharks. Clermont Krobler goes down the left-hand side. And a bit of a chip there from Lekanya towards Mapimpi. That's a great chip as well. Mapimpi looking to go into the half, and it's just brought down. Now knock on advantage from Clermont, and they go for the boot. In fact, it's a penalty advantage, and now a penalty for the men in yellow. That's fantastic work here from the Clermont number 9 there. It's a great tackle on Mapimpi. Bang, straight over the ball. I think Lekanya's actually been pinged for coming to the... I'm a bit confused to what the signal didn't seem to be from the side, but that I think is what the penalty's for. I think it was holding on. Oh, that's a brilliant intervention from the scrum half. Right, line out for Clermont. They're still exactly what they need. Now, by the way, they've got a one-man deficit for the next 5 minutes. So I can remove that yellow card. So Sharks now down to a man. And the kick ahead is pretty pinpoint. That's really good game management. Pinning the Sharks all the way back inside their own 22. And they're looking to run out that 22 to be fair for the Sharks. So I don't think they'll mind too much from a field position point of view, but they've got to get more possession. Fez and Barton up. His first line goes to Clermont Krobler. It's good work. Pops up to Grant Williams. And Pepsi Buthelezi. Oh, jeepers. Sit down, son. And a big run from him as well. Outside the 22 he goes. That's a huge hit from him. We really impressed them tonight. Well, today, actually, I suppose. The sun's still up, both here and there. The rare sun in the UK is out. And it's a great take from Evan Etzebeth as well. The Sharks, all of a sudden, on the front foot. Werner Koch, long pass out. Francois Fenter. Lekanya looking for the off. Oh, he's got the off and away. No, in fact, that's Lakanya. It was Masuku, Mapimpi. No one's going to catch him. Into the corner goes Makazolo Mapimpi. Sharks with a lifeline. 1 point behind. Kick to come. 10 minutes to go. And a man down. Well, here we go. Here we go. Is there yet a twist in the tail? Kanya Amsia Masuku, some great offloads there. I think it was Masuku who got the offload in behind the defender into the hands of Lakanya And that's all from Etzebeth, who charged down that, well, didn't charge down, but charged ahead and won back the up and under. But there's that offload. In fact, it's Vincent Chatuka, by the way, of all people. And then, oh, jeepers me, Lakanya with the skill set. It's a wild hat. And Fassi, I'll tell you what, that's a very relief upload of Fassi on the side. Kick to cup, such an important kick this from Sia Masuku. It's a 1 point game. It's going to be a 1 point game regardless of what happens with this kick. The question is, will it be Sharks by 1 or Sharks down by 1? What an important kick this is. And he's absolutely nailed it, has Sia Masuku. He's kicked brilliantly today. Goodness me. Sia the Source Masuku has nailed every single one of his kicks. It's been a masterclass. People keep saying, is it Sia Pollard, Andre Masuku? Call him what you like. He's slotting them from anywhere on the field. And there is the class of international players. And the Sharks with maybe one of the most undeserved leads I've ever seen. This would be a burglary if they were to get into the final after this performance. But their challenge is yet alive in the Challenge Cup. The contestable kick goes backwards. And him and Etzebeth has manhandled him. And now the Sharks with a bit of a spring in their step. Just 1 more minute to manage with Upland and Fasty in the bin. They're then back to a full contingent. They cannot afford to concede a penalty inside their own half. And the Kanyans come up and missed the tackle, but stopped the momentum. Bernard Cox, man, an absolute flippin' jack wrestle today. Berea, who's still on. Not too many options there from Janot. Good tackle that from Sia Masuku. He's right in front of Krobler. Krobler, I think it hands the ball at stage. Ball's come loose. Looking to try and rip the ball in the tackle is Etzebeth. Berea, I mean, he's still going. He's played almost a full 80. Ball available. Down the right-hand side they go. Bit of space out wide. Comes steps back inside. Sharks desperately trying to find a jackal here. Phase after phase, though, from Clermont. Ball available. 11 phases.
To remind you, this the Sharks' last opportunity of making it into the Champions Cup next year. They have to win the Challenge Cup altogether. Otherwise, they will be back in the
Short ball there. Desperate defense from the Sharks. Looking for the offload there. 13 phases. Barrier. The ball's popped up loose. Turnover ball. Pepsi put a lazy away with it. It's been ripped apparently, and I think Etzebeth's got it. He does have it. So Sharks with possession. 5 minutes to go. Grant Williams wants to go on the left-hand side. Pops it up to Henry Jacobs. And then he puts the bit of afterburners on. Almost gets through the gap. Lucy, I tell you what. The Lucy that goes from 0 to 105 to 6 working days. Grant Williams now lifts it high in the air. It wasn't his best kick. Swirling up in the air, right up against the touchline. It's in touch on the full from Grant Williams. Big mistake that from him. Puts his hand up in apologies, but they will get Upland Fassi back. And it's the only positive out of this. It will run down the clock as well. Etzebeth stretched himself out with a bit of cramp in inverted commas.
Yeah, he's going to get over the line. I mean, both sides played with so much energy. It's an incredible game to watch.
All right, HIA replacement there. And Johan Bahageri is going on to the park. And the Sharks, well, I mean, there was ever a time still allowed. It's now. They've got 5 minutes of defense. They get through that 5 minutes. They find themselves in a Challenge Cup final. They'll be going to, down the road actually, to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I think the date is about the 23rd or so of May. So it's a couple of weeks' time. I'm trying to check out exactly the date of the final. It is on the process. I mean, how many flipping? 24th of May. 24th of May. Friday the 24th of May. You can see Evan Etzebeth now barking out the instructions, telling the lads, listen, boys, I've been here before. Won 2 World Cups. This is how we get through the next 5 minutes. And it's basically very simple. You tackle your heart out and you just don't give it. You've got to just keep going. They do try and compete. Brand Krobler goes up. It's a bit desperate trying to get his arms around the Tuku as well, trying to hold up the rolling more. Once is the call there from Pierce. Very well defended here from the Sharks. And it's gone loose! Advantage being played, I think, for the knock-on. Or was it a penalty? I think it's just the knock-on. It is just the knock-on. It is going to be a Clermont scrum, but just the knock-on. It was a penalty on the halfway line. There could have been a kick to win it. Great defense. Great tackle there. I think it's the Kanya or Masuku's lined him up there. Yeah, it's the Kanya It's a great tackle. Phenomenal tackle that. Has knocked on in the process, but just completely killed the momentum. That's run down 30 seconds. 4 minutes left on the clock officially. If there was ever a time for a big scrum, it is now from the Sharks. But they have lost their scrum weapons in terms of Recheka Baditswe in Shea and one Vincent Cox. So it's the youngsters of Hanno Jacobs and Intutuko Ngunu who's going to have to do the business here with President Barter locked in between them. Clermont will have the opposite idea. Penalty for them. It's gone down on the other side here. Ball available. Down the right-hand side they go. And it's knocked it on. He's knocked it on. Knock-on advantage for the Sharks this time. Pepsi Buthelezi, he almost caught napping there, actually. He was trying to be a bit clever, and one of the players that come from the side almost battered him. Williams is going to go up into the air. Now Pimpy is after it. And he's been taken out. People are complaining, I think, Mateshi, but ironically, the guy who caught it actually landed right in front of Pimpy. Burst straight through. That's a good tackle, that coming from Jean-Ray Lapis Labiskakni. Great tackle that. Number 7 on 7 action there from Tutuka Onyato. On the left-hand side. Oh, it's a big hit from Francois Fender. Doesn't complete the tackle, but they're trying to bundle him out of touch. They have bundled him out into touch. Look at Pepsi Buthelezi. He's played 80 minutes of rugby, and he is literally bouncing with excitement. And I'll tell you what. The effort that is displayed week in, week out by a one Werner Koch is unmatched. Quacker Smith type work rate. He's unreal. Been signed by Ulster for next season, and I think he's going to be a hit. I think he's such a likable character. He's going to be a fan favorite. I don't see how he won't be. But 77, almost 78 minutes on the clock. Sia Masuku looks like he's going to go the full 80, as is Grant Williams. So Paul Cameron Wright and Buddha Chamberlain will probably be unused substitutes at this rate. You just can't take Sia Masuku off the way he's playing. What a game this has been, though. And the stoop is, yeah, you can see a lot of tension over there. A lot of smiles on the face of the Sharks fan. A lot of sappers stacked in there. Looks like a very good crowd, and apparently it's been a fantastic atmosphere. I've got a couple of people I know who are there, and apparently it's rocking. It's a good line-out win there from BITDEFENDER. Sharks trying to go to the rolling more here. Just about using the time there. Pheasant Barter is going to be very cautious at the back there. He'll present it to Grant Williams. Can't afford to turn this over. Grant Williams comes with it, and he goes short to Francois Fenter. This is just about controlling the game. 2 minutes, they're going to try and wind the clock down here. Big counter coming from Clermont. Grant Williams pops it up to Tuko. Takes contact, presents to Grant Williams. Cabran Cobbler. Dangerous game this though when the Sharks when any teams try to do this and they just try to go through phases. Yeah, I think they're going to go to the boot here, Grant Williams, which is I think is the right decision. Yeah, it does go to the boot. This is how teams manage it. They'll lob it up for a few seconds, try and win possession back, which they don't. But I'll tell you what, he's almost going through. Masuku comes back to make the tackle. And now Clermont with the last minute to attack. Sharks defense has to be perfect now. Almost a knock on there. Discipline and defense. Ball available. Clermont players are heaving. Ball available. Relentless attack now from Clermont, but that's good defense there from the Sharks. 30 seconds left on the clock here. Almost through goes Yatta. He's been so good today. Could be man of the match on a losing cause here. Now looking to spread it. Bounces off one. Has another go to Sia Masuku. Runs to Makazuma Pimpi who completes the tackle. Berea is going to go the full 80. The full distance. 9 seconds. One knock on. One moment. One turnover. And the Sharks can go into the final. The clock turns red. This is the final play. Berea now slightly isolated. Support arrives. Can't make a mistake here. One mistake, one penalty could be the difference here for Clermont. Simmons and Fussy's trying to drag him into touch. Look at the pressure here. Quickly defense up here. Berea is brought down by Honor Jacobs. Labuschagne was up quickly. Good tackle there from Krobler. Sharks not committing any way to the breakdown. The cross kick. And he runs it. He does gather it, but Croc has bundled it out. It is out. And it's been, yeah, the whistle goes. I tell you what. That is a stolen place in the final. We're not doing much for the South African name by going over to the UK and burglaring a spot in the final. But what a comeback that is from the Sharks. Special, special moment. Maybe a game that actually sums up their season. The bizarre to the sublime. The bot players standing up when needed to be. EPCR, Mapimpi, Lakanya them all involved in that final try. The best players stand up in the big moments. The cream always rises to the top, they say. And what a result that is. The Sharks are in the Challenge Cup final on the 24th of May. Be here on the stream. They will be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They will be facing either Benetton or Gloucester. We'll find out that a little bit later. I will see you a bit later. It is Leinster versus Northampton in the Champions Cup. That should be an absolute cracker. And we're going to be live for that at 6:30. People, thank you very much for spending your time with me. I will see you guys all later. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are indeed new. And I will see you guys in a few hours for what's hopefully going to be a really, really, really